This is a test. I'm George McAndrews.
My name is Doug Carlson.
My name is Doyl Taylor.
My name is Kent Carter.
My name is James Cherney.
My name is Douglas Pope, and this concludes the test.
We're back on the record at 6:48 on tape number 4.
Mr. Taylor, there are certainly more questions that I could ask you to fill gaps that perhaps remain after Mr. McAndrews questioning you this afternoon. Nevertheless, it is 6:48. We've been here since 9:45. And you have already given your deposition for 5 days, so many years ago. And I'm going to forego any further questions this afternoon. I think that if it is necessary to fill these gaps, there is sufficient testimony in your prior depositions that I can designate for the court, and I will do that. Therefore, this afternoon, I have no further questions.
I have a few questions on redirect. Mr. Taylor, the pamphlets that Mr. Carlson showed you, they were not prepared for the federal government, were they?
Certainly not.
They were prepared for stock at the AMA to be sent to members and those.
Yes, they were sold by the hundreds to physicians to keep in their office.
All right. As handouts.
For example.
Primarily as handouts for medical physicians, is that correct?
If that, yes, that was the probably the principal purpose of it.
Okay, Defendant's Exhibit 2005E. For how long a period of time was that distributed by the AMA?
Not very long.
Can you tell me why?
I think this is the one that has,
In paragraph 7, excuse me, on page 7.
this is the one that has the misstatement by the Office of Education that a chiropractic degree is spurious.
All right. And did you substitute for that pamphlet?
We did. We tried to. We destroyed all of them that we had in our stock. We tried to get our hands on all that had not been distributed.
Did you?
We did not redo this pamphlet.
Okay. Did you ever determine how many of this type of pamphlet had been distributed?
Never did accurately determine, but not very many, because we didn't print very many to begin with.
Okay, how many did you print to begin with?
I don't remember, but I know it was a small print order, and it was done in our shop.
Okay, what do you consider a small print order?
I think that order was for 1,000 at that time.
And was there a second print order at any time?
No, sir. And it was within a matter of, it probably took 3 to 4 weeks for production. And either during that 3 to 4 weeks or shortly thereafter, I would assume maybe a week thereafter, we learned that the misstatement was included in this book.
All right. Do you know if that misstatement was picked up by third parties and carried in their publications as fact?
I know of none that ever picked it up.
Do you know if the ad hoc committee or Mr. Cohen overturned the recommendation of any expert review panel?
I don't know.
Was the purpose of each expert review panel to apply expertise to the specific subject matter to which they were assigned?
I believe that's the case, and to be the gatherer of information that could be made as parts of the report on their assignment.
Do you know if Ms. Bierman and Dr. Southard wrote the report
I
on
don't know.
chiropractic?
I don't know who wrote the report. I was told there were multiple writers who contributed to it, and I was told there were multiple editors who edited it. That's all I know about it.
Was one of the purposes of the AMA in resisting chiropractic inclusion in Medicare to make certain that federal health care tax dollars went to medical physicians rather than to chiropractors?
I assumed that I had answered that question this morning. I think that if physicians needed any more money or business, all they needed to do was open the door or get somebody else to help them. The purpose was to protect the public health primarily, secondarily to stop the waste of, to prevent the waste of the taxpayers' money.
Did you ever hear Dr. Sabatier say that the young physician should be reminded that the chiropractor was taking his money?
No, I've never heard him say that.
Do you know if he ever said it?
I believe you had it in one of those documents that I had never seen before.
Now, on the Senior Citizens Report, is that the name of that group? National Council of Senior
National
Citizens?
Council of Senior Citizens.
Now, you financed the printing of that National Council of Senior Citizens report, did you not?
We did not.
Okay. How much money did the AMA contribute to the reprints of that?
The AMA did not contribute any money to the reprints. The AMA purchased somewhere upwards of 10,000 copies.
And did, was it Bill Hutton, did he come and appear before the Board of Trustees with you?
Yes.
He came from where? Philadelphia or Washington to Chicago?
Came from Washington.
And you made a request for $35,000 of the board, did you not?
I did not.
Who did?
Mr. Hutton.
All right. And how much did the board award it?
I don't believe they awarded anything.
Well, does the figure $17,500 strike a responsive core in your memory?
No, I don't remember that there was a dollar figure at all as far as the board was concerned.
All right. What did Mr. Hutton ask for, if you can recall?
I think he wanted some financial support for the printing of that issue of the Senior Citizens News, or whatever the title of his newspaper is. We assured him, by we, I mean the American Medical Association assured him, if my memory serves me correctly, that he would be compensated for any copies that we would obtain from him, and that this would be a sizable number of copies.
You told him that.
I did not tell him that.
Okay, who did?
I haven't the slightest idea. It was somebody on the board.
Oh, at the meeting that
Yes.
he, all right. And do you know how much he was ultimately compensated?
No, I don't. I don't remember.
All right.
We could have bought $17,500 worth of reprints. I'm not sure. That's the figure you're throwing at me.
All right.
That is not the figure that sticks in my mind.
Did the issue ever come up that the some attribution to the AMA should appear on that National Council of Senior Citizens document?
Certainly not.
Was there an issue raised as to whether or not the return mailing address, the AMA was mailing it out, that it showed that it was coming from the AMA?
No. Nobody ever made any. We never mailed that paper per se. We mailed the chiropractic pages out of that paper.
All right. Now, you helped edit that report, did you not?
I did not help edit that report.
if Mr. Hutton indicated that you made some editorial changes or some corrections to it, was he
I made some
incorrect?
suggestions to him.
You made some editorial suggestions?
Literally, they were makeup. Now, if you know what makeup is in a newspaper parlance,
Yes.
it was the placement of the Academy statement.
All right, now,
Excuse me, I said Academy. I apologize. The American Medical Association policy statement.
all right, now, that policy statement was never submitted to the membership for approval, was it?
The membership is represented by the House of Delegates, and it was submitted and voted unanimously by the House of Delegates.
I think there may be, are you talking about the senior citizens?
I'm talking about the senior citizens group.
I think you're talking about the AMA.
Oh, sure.
I think there's a.
I'm
What are
sorry.
you talking about now?
I'm sorry.
What? I'm sorry,
The
Ally.
position of the National Council of Senior Citizens was never submitted to the membership for a vote, was it?
No.
Okay.
I think there's a failure to communicate here again. I think he's talking about the National Council of Senior Citizens statement, and he's asking you whether or not you know it was submitted to the membership of the National Council of Senior Citizens. Am I right?
That's right.
That was their publication. I assume that every member of the National Council of Senior Citizens obtained a copy of that.
Excuse me, obtained a copy, but they did not vote on the position of the National Council of Senior Citizens.
I haven't the slightest idea.
All
I
right.
had very, very
Where was
little
that?
to do with,
Did you have it?
I have, it's in the pamphlet. I think that's all I have.
It's, well, you had an exhibit that was a, no, it's a document that, from the National Council of Senior Citizens. Is
The
that it?
book of exhibits.
Pardon?
You talking about something in the book of exhibits,
Do you
maybe?
recall which one it was?
I'll show you the one that I used. I think I can find that, yes.
You talked to Bill Hutton on the telephone regarding,
It was 212.
all right, 212. Let me see if I can, you talked with Bill Hutton on the telephone to seek his help in getting members of the Senate Finance Committee to oppose chiropractic inclusion in Medicare, did you not?
that's right.
And did he tell you that he had called the executive board together to meet next Monday and Tuesday?
I testified to that effect
Yes.
earlier.
And did he tell you that on Monday, we will unanimously adopt a new resolution? Before the board even met?
I don't know what you mean before the board even met. The board was meeting Monday and Tuesday.
That's right.
And he says, on Monday, we will adopt a, what are you talking about? The board is meeting on Monday.
That's right. But this wasn't Monday, was it, that you were talking to him?
That's what he's talking about.
Right, he
On
says-
Monday, the first day we meet, we will adopt this resolution, is what he said.
Unanimously.
He said unanimously, right.
And there were 40 members on the board,
I don't know how many of them.
and he was telling you in advance that every one of them would adopt that resolution?
You are making assumptions that I can't make.
All right. Well, Plaintiff's Exhibit 212 will speak for itself. I won't intrude into it. How many copies of Secretary Cohen's report on chiropractic did the AMA have printed?
I don't remember.
Okay. Was it in excess of 50,000?
I don't believe so. I
right.
think it was less than 50,000.
Did the issue come up at that time as to whether or not there should be some attribution somewhere on the reprint that it was the AMA that was having it reprinted?
I believe there was an attribution.
Okay. Are you certain there was an attribution? Okay.
And I don't think there was ever any discussion of it. I can't remember whether I put one on or didn't put it on.
Okay.
And I don't think it would have made any difference which way I did it.
Were you concerned that the AMA hand not show in having that distributed?
When the AMA is distributing it, and how can I avoid the AMA's hand showing?
By not putting the reprinter's name on the document?
Mr. McAndrews, there was a cover letter that went with that,
All right.
with my name on it.
Okay. Did the chiropractors submit a white paper,
Yes.
and did they accuse the report of being biased?
Among many other things.
And did the AMA, did you or members of the Committee on Quackery appear on television to, in effect, ridicule any suggestion that the report had been biased or fixed?
Not to my knowledge. I
Okay.
don't ever remember of any AMA Quackery committee member appearing on television at that time concerning any part of
Okay.
this situation.
Was Dr. Cashin at the HEW, do you remember? Is that the proper name of the, all right.
I don't know Dr. Cashin. There was a Yale professor who did some research on how difficult it was to fracture a spine.
All right.
Or
I'm
how
talking
simple-
about,
how simple it was. I've forgotten which way it was.
all right. Did Congress ask the AMA or HEW, to your knowledge, to respond to the white paper?
I don't know whether Congress asked them to or not, but they did.
Okay. Did the AMA ever make the statement that it had not been involved in the HEW study?
We were not involved in the HEW study.
Okay. The contacts with Dr. Manel and Dr. Duncan, you felt had not been any involvement in the study?
These were not the people who were responsible to the Congress.
All right. They were just
These were-
members of the expert review panel.
These were the researchers, supervised by an ad hoc committee of the leading citizens of the United States, supervised by the Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare with direct orders from the Congress.
Did you tell Secretary Cohen that you had had these meetings or contacts with all members of the expert review panel?
That I had had meetings, I had no meeting, I had had no contact with any member of the expert review.
Let me say that members of the Committee on Quackery discussed contacting them, and that to your knowledge, contacts were made.
Contacts were made with members of the expert review panel to supply them with information we thought would be helpful to them in making a determination.
Did you tell Congress that?
There was no opportunity to. We were denied the opportunity to testify.
I have no further questions. Thank you.
I have no further questions.
No questions.
That concludes the deposition at 7:06 p.m.